more ready to go.
All right. All right, we are live. Boom. Hope these mics are working. Boom. Looks like we can see you okay. Let me check on this one. Yeah.
Got the wrong t-shirt on.
Yeah, you're wearing a 99 t-shirt.
This is my travel shirt.
Yeah.
We don't really hit the extra until tomorrow or Thursday, so
Let me grab
I guess it's not the wrong t-shirt, it's just a different t-shirt. Tangle. That looks like a retro paint job for sure. Remember like old Treks and stuff and Shins? No. Like
I'm trying to log in and see if I can get the question is on this.
You're talking about? Yeah.
Are you on? Cool. You want to monitor that and let me know if anybody has a question? All right, guys. Not too many people on yet, but we'll get going. Thomas, welcome to Kansas City. Yeah, so I'm here with Thomas Turner. I've got Todd, Corbitt, and Max Nobile, all from the Jamis Renegade race team. I call it the Renegade race team because we're racing. It's a Jamis race team, and they flew in from all parts of the country for Unbound, and we just wanted to have them stop by the shop. We're a big Jamis dealer. In fact, our first bike brand was Jamis, and the Renegade's our best-selling gravel bike. So we want to have these guys come down, spend some time with us. We're going to do a ride. We're going to have some pizza, some beer. So if you are watching this and you are within driving distance, you want to come down here. If you can make it for the ride, awesome. We're going to just do a little 17-mile ride around, show these guys the area. And then we're going to come back here and have pizza and beer. And the best thing about that is it's all free. So come on down. But yeah, so Thomas, thanks for coming. I've been a fan watching you over these years. How long have you been racing for Jamis?
I started racing for Jamis in 2000.
Okay, but you've been racing before that?
Oh yeah,
just
all
all kinds
a
of stuff.
long time.
And you race pretty much all disciplines, right?
Yeah.
Bike,
XC,
gravel.
endurance,
Yeah.
gravel.
How about road? You've done a lot of
I
road?
have done a little bit of road, but I don't do it.
Don't do it much, yeah. Okay. Well, how many times have you done Unbound?
I believe this will be my 4th time.
Okay. Yeah. So, what's over those 4 years? Have you seen any changes in the race? I mean, what's your impression of kind of the current state of it? How's it different than when you started?
It's grown substantially, but even when I came into it 4 years ago, it was still a really big event.
Yeah.
Like 2,000 people.
Yeah.
On the drive up there, I was talking to Max, and we were thinking it was like 5,000.
Yeah.
So it's definitely grown, but it was pretty substantial even before I started.
Yeah.
So
5,000 is the number I heard. I don't know if that's across all the races or.
I would suspect so.
But you're doing the 200.
Yeah.
Have you done any of the other races?
I've only ever done the 200.
Okay.
So we've done the first 2 times I did it, the first 2 editions I did was the North Course, which is what this one's going to be. And then last year we did the South.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
from what I understand, this one's a little more chunky.
Yeah.
So
And last year you got caught up in the rain and the
I
weather.
believe it was around mile 11 we wound up getting we caught like terrible mud section. It was like 3 mile hike.
Yeah.
And then at that, you were just looking for anything if you could ride off the shoulder in the grass.
Yeah.
That was actually faster because the wet, the dew, and the water that was accumulating on the grass would wipe the tires off.
Yeah. Okay.
You could ride kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So was that the hardest year last year?
And that was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Because,
You finished though, right? You
Yeah.
finished all 4 times. Right?
yeah.
So what? Can you have any good stories out there? Like, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you in any Unbound races?
I mean, one year, I can't remember if it was the first year or not, but I had a massive flat where it cut a rock cut all the way from the bead of the tire and chipped the rim all the way to the center of the tire.
Yeah.
And I put a boot in it and it held. I wound up going through a bunch of tubes, but the last tube I got from somebody who was on a time trial bike.
Yeah.
And he gave me it was like a 19 millimeter, 19 to 25 mil tire or inner tube.
Yeah.
And man, somehow that thing stretched out and
I
thought for sure it was gonna explode. It had to be paper thin at that point.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So, what you got any tips for like the newbie doing this race for the first time? What do you tell people?
I would say stay hydrated, stay up on the fluids, stay up on your nutrition.
Yeah.
Once you get too far behind, it's hard to recover from. Pace yourself. Don't, it's going to be your own race, so you don't need to try and go off with people because, whatever distance you're doing, if you're doing the 50, 100, or 200 or the XL, it's right at your pace.
Yeah.
Try not to, overextend yourself because it'll cost you in the long run.
Yeah, I've always kind of followed the mantra of start slow, finish fast.
Yeah.
But you don't have that option. You're up there in the front pack. If you start slow, you're going to be riding by yourself. Right?
Yeah, you get off the back. So you there's a fine line.
Yeah. What are the tactics going on up in the front of the race? I mean, are you just kind of scoping everybody out, trying to pair up with people that you know? I mean, how's it? I guess every race is different.
Yeah, so
how do you approach that?
Last year, the mud, it kind of threw a wrench into
Yeah.
things because everybody was off running and hiking, and I was behind. People were passing me, and I was like, "What? Much faster riders be back with me."
Yeah.
Thinking,
Okay.
what are you doing back here?
Good to see you.
And so it just really exploded the field. But you always have familiar faces you ride with all the time and see, so you kind of know how to judge where in the pack you're going to be. You wind up making friends throughout the ride, kind of have some alliances form.
Yeah.
And you end up working with people because you don't want to be out there in no man's land by yourself. So you always wind up coming up with a good group and everybody tends to work together. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to get to the finish line as quick as they can. So.
Okay. Well, what other races you got coming up in the near future after this?
I'm doing the KOP series in North Carolina. So we did Bootlegger was the first, and I did pinball recently.
Okay.
And then we'll have the Pisgah Enduro, and then there's another new event within that one. It's like a 50K kind of cross country. And then talking to a friend, we'll be going out to another 100-mile mountain bike race. So there's a few different races here.
Well, we have a race here in August called the Badaster.
Okay.
And the 50 mile is called the Half-Aster. So we love to have come out for that. I know it's probably a long travel. It's a really small race.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So you're going to be riding the new Jamis Renegade that just came out.
Yep.
Unbelievable bike. We're going to have Todd come and talk a little bit about it. He's the product manager for the Renegade. But what are your first impressions of this bike? How do you like it?
So I've ridden it a couple of times. We rode it out in Arizona earlier this year, and I've had it. I had a prototype towards the end of the last season. I raced it at Big Sugar. It was just a flat bike at the time. This is the production model.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
And it rides phenomenal.
Yeah.
I raced it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
The Bootlegger.
Yeah, bring it up here so you can see it. And it's got the beautiful I-9 wheel build on it.
Yeah.
It's just the colors on this thing are phenomenal. And you guys are going to be at the Jamis tent over at Unbound Expo all weekend, right? So people can come by and take a look at this.
Yeah, they can come by and check it out.
This thing is a beautiful machine. Yeah, just the details on there.
Yeah, and the paint is a real pretty like bass boat, so it kind of iridescent changes color in the sun. So with the wheels, while everything's it really pops when you get it alive. It looks a little muted right now, but the paint scheme's fantastic.
Yeah, well done on this bike. I can't wait to see it, see how it performs on the race.
Yeah, it rides super good. It's got a lot more tire clearance. The other one's about a 40 was the max you can run. This one around 50. So
And what are your everybody wants to know what's the tires you're running? These I'm not familiar.
These are the Maxxis Refuse.
Okay.
With their Max Shield.
Okay.
These are what I ran last year.
Okay.
It's like Maxxis has EXOs, Silk Shield. The Silk Shield's more along the road line, gravel. The EXO is mountain bike, and then the Max Shield is more of a like really durable casing.
Okay.
Typically, probably associated with like a racing.
Okay. Yeah.
But when durability is the name of the game, that's kind of the pinnacle of that. So.
Fantastic. Well, I love it. I love the slicks. I think
Yeah,
it's gonna be
you know,
great, especially in the mud.
Hopefully it'll shed through.
Hopefully we won't have a lot of mud.
Yeah,
It's supposed to rain later in the week.
But it rides really, really well. So.
Very good. Well, if you want to talk to Thomas further, head out to the Jamis booth and check it out. I'm going to talk to Todd. He's the product manager for the Renegade and Jamis gravel line. So I'm going to chat with him a little bit. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, so glad to have you down here. Can't wait to do a little ride with you. I'll try to. You're gonna have to slow down.
I'll take it.
Are we getting any questions? You know.
I just saw one
Okay.
pop up, and it was about the ride time.
Okay. If you guys have questions, just feel free to jump in here. We'll try to answer them. I hope the sound is okay. I apologize if not. We got limited equipment here. Hopefully you can hear us.
I got this up. I think I'm good.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming down.
Thanks
We've been
for having
talking
us.
about this for a while.
Yeah.
And finally get it done. And so, first of all, I wanted to let you know, my career, I was a product manager as well in the financial services industry. So I am completely envious of being a product manager in the bike industry. I wish I could do that, but it's funny. A lot of the same things apply. You know, working on trying to figure out what products will sell, what people want. You know, what enhancements you should make every year and all that kind of stuff. So that's what you do, right? For the Jamis Renegade.
Yep.
And you do the Renegade, any other bikes you work on?
I do some flat bar 700C bikes. I do C-Cool.
Yeah.
I do some of our road bikes. So
Okay.
that's kind of my categories.
Yeah. Well, well done on the Renegade. And so you've been with Jamis how many years now?
Yeah, 14
years.
something like that. Long time. Yeah.
Okay. So you were on the Renegade from the beginning?
Yeah, and it's a funny story. One of our guys that raced on our road team, his buddy had quit racing and started to do this race called the Crusher in Utah.
Yeah. And
he asked Tyler Wren to come ride it.
Okay.
Well, we didn't have any bikes to ride it with. He couldn't ride his road bike with it. So
Okay.
he did a cyclocross bike the first year. We had an Endura, which
Okay.
had a little more tire clearance the next year. And that was kind of the start of the gravel deal, and that got me thinking about it. And I was riding more like fire roads in California.
Okay.
And so we started working on the Renegade. And when we brought the Renegade out, we didn't know. I mean, the gravel bike category really wasn't there yet.
Yeah, that was early on.
It
People
was
were
early on.
riding cross bikes and everything else.
Yeah.
Did you identify it as a cross bike early on, or did you say it's a gravel?
More of a gravel bike,
Okay.
more of a dirt road bike.
Yeah.
Something that's gonna be ridden off road. And again, when we were speccing this bike out, there weren't a lot of tire options either.
Yeah.
So, it was really, it was hard at first. And when I remember talking to our sales reps about this, I'm like, man, I hope they get this, and I hope they understand it, because it was something that really wasn't happening all over the country.
Yeah.
It's not like it is today.
Yeah.
And man, it was great for our sales reps and great for our dealers. And we had lots of gravel bikes from $900 all the way up.
Yeah.
So we had steel, we had aluminum, we had carbon. So it's really good for our dealers to have a real gravel bike early in the gravel scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich, could you do me a favor and make sure that YouTube, the iPhones are capturing this? Yeah. Yeah. Just make
going.
Yeah. So when you were coming up with the idea of doing a gravel bike, did you get any pushback, or was it just kind of everybody said, this is going to happen, let's move in that direction? I mean, how was that early on? Or was it kind of we're going to try it and see what happens?
Yeah, what's great about Jamis and Karen and Greg is they'll give you the freedom to think about this category that might happen, or try stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a spreadsheet that says, hey, gravel sales are this.
Right. And
last year they were this. It's a growing category. We need to be in that category.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that. So we were able to just trust each other.
Yeah.
And so based on what Todd was doing and the kind of stuff that I was riding, we felt like it was a category that was going to happen. So we just went for it.
Yeah. And I agree. I think as a small company, you can be flexible and make take those risks that nobody else can do.
Yeah.
And as a product manager, it's like, okay, well, show me the spreadsheet, show me the cost benefit analysis, show me, and then a lot of times it's let's do the minimum viable product to see if we can get it off the ground, that kind of stuff. But as a small company, you guys can take those risks and make those decisions, and that's one of the things I like about some of the Jamis products is they're a little bit different than everybody else. And the Renegade. So our history with Jamis started with the Renegade. So when we opened the shop in 2018, we based on where we were located, we knew gravel bikes were going to be a big part of our business, and we love steel bikes. I love steel bikes. And we said, we need a line that's going to kind of meet those criteria and has a great gravel bike. And Jamis just kept coming up to the top of the list. Mm-hmm. And we said, hey, Jamis would be a great first brand for us. They've got the bikes we like. The Renegade can be kind of our flagship bike, and it's been our best-selling gravel bike ever since. And we just love it, all the way from the aluminum $1,000 Renegade all the way up to now this one. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the other. I'd like to hear your thoughts a little bit on the overall lineup, not just the carbon bikes, but how do you approach that and sort of your commitment to the steel end of the market? How do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we committed to carbon bikes off the bat. So we did molds, and we had 2 carbon bikes was our first Renegade. Right. And again, we believed in the category, and we felt like we could do a good job with carbon at that level. Yeah. And as we came down the line, we felt like we had never stopped doing steel. Yeah. So we did steel bikes back in the day. We never quit doing them. So
just an obvious.
Greg Weber was figuring out the steel thing back then, and he's still with the company. And so we have a long history of steel. Yeah. So we felt like steel worked really good at this level and this price point. We could do a good job at those price points and at those categories with the steel bike. Yeah. So we did steel, and then the very bottom, we felt like the steel was getting a little heavy. Yeah. And so we went with aluminum with the entry level. Yeah.
So that's a great.
Yeah, and on our steel bikes, we use Reynolds tubing on them too. Yeah. And a lot of people kind of gone away from that, use Taiwan 4130, which is a great product too. But we've been with Reynolds a long time. Yeah. And actually on the S2, we work with Reynolds to create a special down tube with that, like a special butted down tube that was kind of fit for our bike. So we could butt it exactly where we wanted to butt it and make a custom tube for our bike on that S2.
Yeah. So you're working directly with the tube manufacturers. You manufacture in Taiwan. You're working with the shops there to make sure it meets your specifications. And from a quality perspective, and also how you spec the bikes out. You got a lot of Ritchie parts. You got all across the bike. Every year you surprise me with new things like the red shift stem. I don't even think that was in the marketing material on the S2. In the very beginning.
Yeah, I feel like we were really early with that too, and it was really great. And we went with that stem for maybe 2 or 3 years. It's a great stem. I still have one on my bike at home. We didn't spec it this year, but we spec'd it in the past, and I still have it on my bike, and it's great. Just it takes some of that dampening out, and I'm doing the 50 miler. I'm not doing the big one, but if I did a bigger one, I probably would have that back on. Yeah, a long day in the saddle with that stem is great.
Yeah. So how do those discussions go when you sit down with your team and talk about, all right, what are we going to do for next year?
Well, it's what are we going to do in 3 years?
That's true. I don't even, for a manufacturer, you're looking 3 years out.
Yeah. Our first prototype for this bike, I probably had 3 years ago. Okay. And that's the black one. That's the first one that comes. We check everything to make sure everything fits on it, make sure it rides the way we want to ride it. Sometimes they can go back and forth with layup. They can give us a different layup to kind of see how it feels. So that's our first prototype, and then after we get that to where we want it, then we'll do the molds. I'm 56, so we always start with the 56. Okay. So if you're 56, you get an early one. Yeah. So I think Thomas had to wait a few months for his 54. Okay. But we got him probably the 3rd prototype. Okay. And I try not to tell him too much about it. Let him ride it, and then let him tell me
what it's like. Yeah.
And if he can tell me the same thing that I was thinking, then I did a good job at it.
How many iterations of prototypes?
I think we probably went 2 or 3. Okay.
And then you got to go through strength testing and all the compliance and all that stuff. So 3 years. You think it's 3 years? So you're probably working on the bike that's going to come out in 2020, 28, 27?
Right now. Specs probably are done for 26 now. So whatever, we're trying to think about 27. Okay.
So what's it feel like when the first batch of these roll off and you start pulling them out of the boxes? Is that a nerve-wracking?
Well, I'm in California. These bikes are in New Jersey. And then you'll actually see a production bike
before you do.
Yeah, before I will. So Thomas got a production bike, so he was able to put it together and give us the feedback. Hey, this didn't work or that didn't work. So if I don't hear nothing from him, then I know it went together good. Yeah. So that's a great thing.
Well, one of the questions I always think about when I get the new bikes is how the heck do you come up with the colors? Because every year, like the Renegade S2, you came out with the root beer color. And I was like, this is the coolest bike color I've ever seen. They can't top that. And then you came out with the copper tone color, and I'm like, they topped it.
Yeah.
So do you have someone else that does the color select? Do you have one person that does that, or is that a team decision? How's that work?
Our artist at Jamis, Dave Rosen, is done the colors for us. He's been there close to 30 years.
Okay.
And he's as I'm telling you what the Renegade is, and we're talking about it, he's marketing it and stuff, and he just kind of gets the feel and the vibe for it, and he'll pull these colors out of the blue, and it's great. It's great. He's done a great job with them, and we'll look at the outdoor industry, what they're doing, and earth tone stuff, and with this one, this was something new, and we wanted it to look different. So if this bike's lined up against the bike from the previous year, you can tell it's totally different. It's a departure from where we were at.
But you do keep some of the same themes that you can tell it's a Renegade, right? So the graphics,
the topo.
Yeah. So you carry it through. I love the head badges on a lot of these bikes, and
So we did this prism color, so it's a little bit different color for us, and the sun, it kind of sparkles a little bit. You can see different colors. It's kind of a purplish color to it. So we wanted a definite departure on the graphics kit and the color.
Yeah. Oh, the color scheme on this. You'll have to see it at the expo in the light, because it's like a rainbow.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's really neat. A lot of people love when they see it. They're like, "Oh wow!" and they start trying to move a little bit so they can see the colors change.
Yeah,
it's really cool. They look great in the sun out at the expo this week.
Yeah. So a couple other questions that I want to ask. You started working with Boyd wheels on the S2. I don't think what's this come spec with, wheel wise?
The top of the line comes with a Zip 101.
Okay.
And then from there we go to a Boyd Joe Cassie.
Yeah.
Carbon.
Okay.
Yeah. So I met Boyd, I don't know, it's been a long time ago now, but we worked with American Classic, and they were really involved. Bill had his own factory in Taiwan, so we could go in that factory. He started to roll rims. He started to extrude in the factory, so we could be right there with it. And he was a wheelsmith. And when I met Boyd, I felt like he was a wheelsmith as well. He cared about the wheels. He cared about the rim, the weight, the extrusion, just all the details of it. So I really enjoyed our conversations and what he put into the product. And I feel like that's something that I want to put into our bike. And I'm a product manager, but I do Jamis, and I do the frame and do the fork. I don't want to spend time. I want the stem guys to do the stem. I don't want to put my own wheels together. I want Boyd works on wheels all day. That's his deal. So I want to use his wheels.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. As a small company, you can do that, right? You don't have to manufacture everything. You don't have to have your name on everything. And you can piece together these bikes that are just perfect. I've been super impressed with the Boyd wheels. I was super happy to see that you came up with those. We're actually going to work with them on just stocking up their wheels here, and and like similar with the Ritchie stuff that you use and other things. I think that's great. Well, go ahead.
Boyd actually he does build wheels in Asia, but he's also building wheels in America. And if there's any customer service problems, he usually takes care of them before we hear about it. Because they'll call, like if you have something, you'll call him up. And take care of it. So he's a great partner, and I like to have partners with with our product. So,
and that's a lot of benefits to it. So could you talk a little bit about Jamis sort of as a company, and kind of, I guess maybe I'll ask it this way: what do you think with the current state of the bicycle business? How do you think Jamis is positioned to play or compete against all the craziness going on with some of the other makers?
Yeah, I think we're in a good position. We're medium-sized company, small to medium-sized company. We did like everyone else. We ordered like everyone else did, but I don't think we ordered as heavy as other people did. And we have a lot of product that kind of won't go out of date. So even we're out of our old Renegades, or close to being out of our old Renegades. But that's still a great bike, and it's still you could buy that bike and still ride it for 5 more years. There's nothing wrong with that bike. So we have a lot of products that will not go out of date.
I think
we have some kids bikes, and we have some flat bar bikes and comfort bikes that won't change with the next few model years. So that's good for us too. And we have a really good team. We have a really good sales team. We've had people that have been with us for over 30 years. We have a great staff, and a lot of the staff's been there for many, many years.
Yeah.
So we're just able to work together really well. And I mean, you've probably been talking to the same person.
I've been talking to the same person.
Renee.
Renee, since we started, she's done a great job. Renee, if you're watching, what's up?
Yeah, it's hard for.
She always takes care of me. She calls me every time I place an order. She checks up on me after the order arrives. So you just don't get that from other.
It's hard to find a company that you've talked to the same person for 5, 6, 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I continue to believe in the brand, and we'll continue to be big supporters, and just we look forward to every year what you guys come out with, what you do. I'd love to sell a few of these. They're pretty pricey, but if you can't afford this bike, they have a bike in the lineup that's perfect for just about any budget. And we have most of them here in the shop, as you can see. And we just continue to love working with you guys. What else you want to say? Anything I missed that I didn't ask about?
Not much. This is the new Renegade. So this is it just came out. The Renegade C1 and C2 came out probably a few weeks ago. We launched it a few weeks ago. A few differences with this bike than the old Renegade. We have a little more tire clearance.
Yeah. That's a big change, right? Because that was one of the challenges with some of the bikes is that the tires keep getting bigger every year. You guys redesigned it.
As gravel has grown and the product has changed, and like I said, when we first spec tires on this bike over 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of options.
Yeah.
I think that I had a 35C tire.
Yeah.
Was the biggest tire that I had for this bike.
Like 38. That's huge.
Oh, it kept climbing, and I think every millimeter there's another tire size now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we made a little bit more tire size, lowered the BB, kind of stretched it out a little bit. Stack and reach is kind of similar to the same, but it kind of rides. Our other bike was like a all-road / gravel bike.
Yeah.
This is more like a pure gravel bike, I would say. So it's going to ride great on the road. It'll ride great on the gravel roads and stuff, but you can actually even get this thing on some easy single-track mountain bike stuff. Yeah.
And you can even put a load on it. You got a lot of mounting points.
Many 20-something probably mounting points on here.
Yep.
You can put fenders on
That's
here.
funny. You have one of your demo bikes with fenders on it.
Yeah.
That's unusual. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
But, if you're out there training in the bad weather, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So and we work really hard on just getting the bike to ride good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the lightest frame on the market, but we weren't trying to make the lightest frame on the market. We want to make the best riding bike on the market.
Yeah.
So.
But it's still light. I mean.
We're only
compromising much.
Yeah, it might be a few grams off here or there, but it's a great riding bike. We have a little flip chip in the front, so you can flip it and change the offset on there to make it ride a little bit better on the road. Yeah. And then you can change it to ride better on the gravel roads. Yeah. So
I hear that a lot from customers that it's the ride comfort that just is sold them on the bike.
Yeah.
People that have had the bikes for years, you hear the same thing. It's just such a comfortable bike. Yeah. I had one for a while. I had to sell my Renegade during COVID because everybody was begging me to buy it. So I did sell it, but I'm trying to get my hands on a copper tone S2, but I just can't. They keep selling so fast.
You better get it. It might be.
I know. I didn't. That's my size. I'm a 54. So if you can help me out with that, I would really appreciate it.
All right. Max, our man, right?
Max, come on, man.
Oh, he was on inventory already. He's saying.
I got my credit card right here. If I can get one, I'll take it. But
Max,
actually, I may just buy a frame and build that because you have a couple of frames available, right? So I probably do that.
Actually, that's a good thing. Besides the bikes that we have current C1 frames and S1 frames. Yeah. So you can get the S2, which we call an S1 frame kit. Okay. And you can build it up however you want to.
Yeah. So if anybody wants a frame, call me. We'll build you a bike, and or just come down and buy one of the stock bikes, and we'll help you enhance it if you want to do it. But, well done. We'll see you guys out at the expo and hang out. We're gonna get ready for some riding here. First, I want to get Max in here. He's a sales guy. You want to come in and say hi? Sure. Came all this way. You got the. Thanks for coming down, Max. Salesman. Yeah. And you've been with Jamis forever too, right? 14 years.
Yeah. 14 years.
And it seems like that's a trend. You got people who've been there a long time. Yeah. That's a sign of a good company. Absolutely. You can keep people that long. You guys are still engaged and excited, doing exciting things all the time. So, yeah. So as a salesperson, you spend a lot of time on the road.
Yeah. Events, going from shop to shop. just out there.
Yeah.
Definitely spending a lot of time in bike shops.
All right. Do you ride a Renegade also?
I do. I brought I have a Renegade S2.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, the root beer color.
Yeah, that's my favorite Renegade.
I was just telling the crew I just added a Redshift C-Post, so I'm pretty excited to test that out at Unbound. So.
All right, cool. So what do you think about the current state of the bike market?
Ooh,
You guys aren't going to be doing a 2-for-1 bike deal.
No. It's funny because I was listening to you talk to TC about this. You know, it's really hard to keep up with what's happening in the bike industry right now. I mean, it just seems like it's just a lot of different drama happening every day. And that's pretty much what I try to do is keep up with the times. What's happening with competitors and with bike shops. And, you know, I think what sets Jamis apart is and actually TC said this, we're like a diesel engine. You know, privately owned, family owned company. There's no private equity money involved in the business. So I think that's a big part of why we can do the decisions we do. And that's kept us stable, pretty conservative with what we do. And that's helped us survive these times. So we're pretty nimble.
I mean, it was a little, as a dealer, it was frustrating during COVID, not being able to get inventory, but we were getting enough to keep ourselves going. And I think that's one of the things I appreciated. It's like, it didn't seem like you guys were just, because some of the bike companies was like, okay, you didn't have bikes for a while. Now we're going to dump all these bikes on you. And just never, James was always very steady. It seemed like, I mean, we were, you know, up and down a little bit, but it wasn't crazy like some of the other things we were dealing with at the time. So, you know, part of availability was hard too, but you know, I think I appreciate the fact that you are a little bit conservative and trying to making smart decisions. You seem to be for the long haul, not trying to make short-term decisions.
It's been consistency.
And
we've been in this business for 45 years. The Jamis brand's been around for 45 years. And we've just been consistent the entire time. And still now we're only found in IBD stores. So you're only going to buy Jamis from a retailer, bicycle retailer.
And that's another reason we were big Jamis fans. Because we thought you guys would be dealer friendly. We're a small town, we're a small shop, and we needed a brand we could call somebody up and a person we could talk to that we know, and that's been true with Jamis. It was, you know, from the beginning. It's just been fantastic. So. Cool. Well, have you been to Unbound?
It's my first time.
First time to Unbound. Man, you're in for a treat.
I've been to a lot of events. I haven't been to this one.
This is the one. It's just the whole week's great. It's just the energy and the, you know, all of that is just, you know, I'll let you hear your thoughts on it after you get done and see how you like it. Well, thanks for coming down. And we're going to get going on our ride and pizza and beer. So if you are in driving distance, come down to Auto Bike and Trail. We'll do a little ride. If you can't make the ride, if you don't care to do the ride, don't worry. The shop's still going to be open. There'll be people here. Come in, check out these Jamises, hang out. We'll be back after the ride for free pizza and beer. And thanks for watching. If you're on the YouTube channel, appreciate you watching. And we'll hopefully talk to these guys in the future and do some other live feeds. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Signing off.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Great job, guys. Thank you so much.
This was cool.